to resume? We are on time, which is extraordinary. Bear in mind, it's very difficult for an Argentinian to keep time, but it must be the German setting and influence, right? I feel the pressure to be pünktlich. So here we are. And the next session will be delivered or led by Michelle Bock from Merck. And she is on screen. Hi, Michelle. Can you say something
Hi.
to see if we can hear you?
Yeah, hi.
Okay. And the room is full and eagerly awaiting for your session. So I'll let you do your brief intro and then the floor is yours. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So this is definitely a unique experience for me. Yeah, giving a virtual presentation to a live audience. So you have the advantage that you can see me. I can't see you, but yeah, I hope it will all work out. Yeah, unfortunately, as you could all think, due to strict Corona regulations of my company, I'm not able to be with you today. But nevertheless, I was happy that this remote opportunity was offered, so at least I can share with you what I want to say today. And I learned that we will have some minutes at the end for some Q&A, and definitely there will be other ways to connect later. Yeah, what I want to do today I want to tell you about a project journey that went from a 2 hours workshop to 1 day with the leadership team, and why some kind of superpower and a painting session are part of this journey. Yeah, my name is Michelle Bock. I'm Senior Transformation Manager for the Site Management Organization at Merck in Darmstadt. And Merck is, some of you might know, is a science and technology company. 58,000 employees are working for Merck globally in 66 countries. And our main goal is to find solutions to some of today's toughest challenges. So to create a more sustainable way to live. The organization I'm working for is the Site Management Organization. There, 1,700 employees are working. It is the Darmstadt site, and we are running Merck Group's largest site, and all the global headquarters of healthcare, life science, and electronics are located in Darmstadt. Yeah, so we are a very diverse organization. We cover everything from fire brigade to site doctors, from employee restaurant to analytical services, from maintaining the site's infrastructure to the visitors reception, and this is just to name a few. Yeah, why do we have to change? Why I am on board? Why do we as an organization have to change? In the past, the organization was perceived as quite conservative, sometimes slow, expensive. I mean, definitely we are not the ones earning the money. We are the ones spending the money so that the others can earn the money. And then we had to face demand changes with our partners. So we must find a way to become more customer oriented, to react in a more agile way to the changing demands, and to find quick solutions. So we really we have to review our processes, our portfolios in all teams on all levels to ensure that at the end we can make business easy and successful for our partners, because this is what we are there for. Yeah, so we started with change management activities to support this process. And yeah, due to my experience, if you start with change management, sometimes it happens that, there are some expectations. So it can happen that managers, project teams that are involved would think, cool. So now if change management is on board, he or she will cover everything that is related to change management. So I don't have to do anything. Or cool, now we are doing this 2 hours workshop. So with this, we are done. This is what is needed for change management. You know, I'm exaggerating, but this is part of it. And great, if we have change management, if we do change management, then everybody will be super happy about all the measures we are implementing. I'm quite sure that project teams, managers do not have Superman or Superwoman in mind when they have this kind of expectations. But to fulfill these expectations, some kind of super change management power would have been needed. So these are at least very positive expectations. Of course, there can be different expectations as well. Okay, so change management is entering the room, so most probably some outsourcing will be announced now. Why the hell do we need change management? We will be just invited to some useless workshops, and at the end, anyway, we will be told what to do and have to just follow this. And disappointment, because we cannot make everybody happy. But maybe some managers thought that we have a kind of miracle stick, that even an outsourcing program can be turned into something very positive. Yeah, so we don't have superpower, we don't have our miracle stick, but of course we do have tools and concepts to implement. So this is what we did. So we started with a very classical change management approach, and yeah, with this 2 hours workshop. This was the starting point together with the leadership team. And really, I could feel some disappointment after this workshop, because it was really like, okay, I thought we can cover a lot more during these 2 hours. And now we realize that we are at the very beginning and a lot of work still needs to be done. In addition to this, surveys were conducted, a lot of interviews, mainly to understand what exactly is the vision of the leadership team about this new organization we are heading to. So what is their big picture? And what's the perception towards this within the organization? We had a lot of interaction with the leadership team to understand. So again, very classical. So this was the reality. To understand the who are the stakeholders, who needs to be involved, and then this all went into a communication plan that we implemented to, of course, as well to involve employees from all levels. Yeah, so there were some first results. Yeah. At the end of the summer, we did have a solid communication. There was an increased awareness that we have to do something, that this won't be too easy. We had an improved involvement of the employees, so we could do something. But we were not really there where we had to be, because it's a huge mindset change that is in front of us. So there was still, not really the awareness that this will still be a long process. We have to involve the employees even more, and we have to be actively involved. So sometimes it feels like, so I involve them if I send a newsletter. It's not like this, of course. Every leadership team member, every manager, every team leader, every employee has to play an active role to achieve this change from a more conservative, kind of slow, expensive organization to an agile, quickly reacting organization. So it was not yet a yes, we can do this together as one team, even though we are a very diverse organization. And so I had to confess, for this program, the tools we implemented or the communication we did was okay, but it did not lead us to this, chaka, we will manage this. So what could we do? How can we really make the leadership team emotionally involved and to be ready to really invest their time, to invest the time of their employees, to share ideas, and again to understand that this is not a quick win, that this is a long journey that is ahead of us. So what could we do? Yeah, I can just say sometimes you need to be lucky. What happened? I had some close interaction already with the HR business partner. And one day during one of our meetings, she said, there will be a full day that the leadership team has blocked in 4 weeks. Do you think you can make use of it? Because normally, if I would have asked for 1 day for change management, they would have said, no, we have more important things to do. So she asked if we can do this together. And my first reaction was, oh my God, it's in 4 weeks. I have to think about a proper concept that really has to work out. And the additional idea was not only the leadership team, but 15 employees from the organization that were not even nominated. But of course, this first reaction was only a few seconds, and I had to take this opportunity because this was the chance to get their time and to make them emotionally activated. So I would like to share with you what happened, what we did during this day. So what was this workshop about? The overall theme was, of course, change. And we knew that it is important to do something different. So to really take them out of their routine and start to find ways to somehow simulate the challenges they are facing in their business life. So we could find a very nice, bright, open location that you would usually use to meet with friends or to have a party there. So to have a very different setup, not a meeting, a meeting room kind of setup. Then throughout the whole day, there was music. So we actually had a playlist for this workshop with music for the breaks, for the coffee breaks, with different activating songs when we started the next session, for special music during the sessions. So it was kind of subtle running through the day. Some of the participants realized this, but mainly it again provided a relaxing atmosphere so that the leadership team and the employees could really exchange, just talk. The whole day started with a very personal exchange. And again, so it was a lot about being lucky as well. Of course, we had our ideas, our concept for this workshop, but that this really works out, yeah, you never know, but it worked out. So the door opener was like this, that we asked them to prepare something up front. So we asked them to bring a personal item that is symbolizing a change they were facing or a challenge they were facing in their life. And I was hoping for some personal exchange, and I was amazed how personal it was. So it even gave me goosebumps when I was listening to the different small groups, talking with each other and really sharing in a very open way their personal changes, challenges, and what helped them. Because this was the main part, the overall activity for the whole day, to collect ideas. What helps me in challenging times and times of changes? So they were collecting in each of the sessions. We prepared keywords that we put on a big poster. So at the end, you could really see that there are a lot of ideas and that all of us already went through a lot of changes. And so we can just do this. And a small but important part was that we did not have a very packed agenda. So we allowed sufficient time to talk so that they could really, again, digest what they just did during the breakout sessions, that they could reflect what would help them in their business life. And the main part was, maybe you have an idea from the opening, we asked them to paint a big picture. Somehow similar to the big picture they have to paint for their very diverse organization. How did we do this? So we divided the participants into 5 groups and with individual tasks for everyone. In this way, somehow simulating the very different teams with the very different tasks that we have. They had very strict rules on how they can communicate. So with this, we wanted them to feel a challenge, a difficult setup, again, different from their business life. And they had to paint. Yes, I could see. When I asked them, when I introduced the session, I could really feel the eye rolling and the, oh, cool, now we are asked to paint a picture. So nightmares coming true. Yeah, so what were the rules? Because it was not about the painting session. The painting session was, yeah, okay, they had to paint a picture, but it was actually about the rules. So everybody got a little card with items to paint. And so it was something like you have to paint a flower, a tree, a carrot, 3 snowballs. You were not allowed to show your individual painting instructions to the others. And they were not allowed to talk to each other. Still, at the end, for each group, it had to be a complete picture. To give you an example, so one team member of the group had the item 3 snowballs on the card. The other one, the item or the had to paint a carrot. Only to paint a carrot and only to paint 3 snowballs does not really make sense. But if you put this together, it ends up being a snowman. So they had to find a way to put these items together in a way that makes sense. And each group had to come up with a complete picture. And all 5 groups were painting a certain theme. So at the end, they were painting the 5 seasons. In Germany, it's 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, plus the carnival season, because we had to do 5 groups. And it was very interesting how this worked, because they found very different approaches to deal with it. Some realized that they were not allowed to talk to each other and they were not allowed to show this card to each other, but of course they were allowed to write it down again. Or they used a different paper to first draw their items and then try to put this together. Others just started to draw and realized, okay, maybe the 3 snowballs and the carrot somehow have to go together. So they were very focused, and everybody was painting. So nobody was standing there like, oh, what a stupid session. Because again, it was not so much about the painting. It was much more about how can I do something together as a team and create something with different teams with in a very different setup and with challenges I normally don't face. So normally I'm allowed to talk and I'm allowed to show what I have to do. So they had 20 minutes to paint, 20 minutes to reflect how it felt for them, which approach they could find to do this. And then again, of course, they had 10 minutes to decide what was helpful. And this again was very interesting because one group said, oh, we were much faster because we were not allowed to talk. So if we would have been allowed to talk, we would have discussed for hours. So now the goal was clear. We knew we had to do this together. So we just did it. So At the end, so what was this about getting the leadership buy-in? It was about making them emotionally activated so that they could feel that everybody has to contribute. They all have to be actively involved. It was not about the leadership team doing something or saying something and the others are following. So we had very mixed groups. It was not from the outside visible who would be the leadership team and who would be the normal employee. So we did a big feedback round at the end. We had 23 participants. And normally, I don't know how it is for you, but normally if I do this feedback round, then latest the third or fourth participant would say something like, yeah, I agree to what just the other colleagues said, and thank you for the organization. But with this very open atmosphere and exchange throughout the day, and especially with this session where they had to create something together in a very challenging way, the feedback round ended up in everybody giving an individual feedback. So I'm just picking the most important ones so that they really understood that we all have to be involved, and not only the people in this room, but everybody in this organization to make this change. They said they felt energized. So by doing something different, and this is something, yeah, it is how we do it is we do the things differently. Yeah, we do our processes differently. We approach our customers differently. So, and by this can bring energy in my daily job and how I perceive my job as well. Then yes, it won't be easy. It is a long process, but we have a very cool team. We have very capable colleagues in this organization. So together we can make this. And this was the main feedback from the leadership team. So we all have to play an active role in this transformation. It's not just receiving information or following some advices. So I have to look at my processes. I have to look at the way I deal with the customer, with the partner, and I have to act differently. Yeah, so I was extremely grateful that we could do this workshop, because after this you could already feel a different way when we were interacting with the leadership team. So it was easier to get that time to ask for time with their employees to come up with new ideas. Very cool. They came up with their own ideas. So now they're really approaching us with, we want to do this, we want to do that. How can we set it up? And yeah, little side note that for next year, we have already blocked 2 days to have a similar workshop. And it was not discussed even for a second that this is a useful way to come together. What are the 3 takeaways from this project until now? For me, it is really helpful if I am aware that there might be different perceptions towards change management, because then I can address this, I can act accordingly, and I can try to find ways not to have a too bumpy start of the change management. In the future, I will be even more open if an unexpected opportunity is offered, and I will not only be open, but I will ask and fight for opportunities. So now with this project, it happened. But next time I will ask the HR business partner if I can or if I can make use of 1 day. And most importantly, and this is now where this little superpower comes in again. Yes, there are a lot of tools available. We all have our experiences, we have our concepts that work, but sometimes we are in projects where we have to develop a new setup, a new approach, a new tool, a new way to organize a workshop. And if we share this with each other, we can really increase our own tool sets. And this is the superpower we have, so that we can learn from each other, share our ideas, our experiences with each other, and be brave about just trying things out. And I would have really loved to start the exchange, the sharing with you today on one of the roundtable sessions. Unfortunately, this is not possible. But yeah, I would be very happy if you can just connect with me via LinkedIn, so we can have some exchange there. And I understood that there will be some minutes now if you have any questions. And yeah, with this, I thank you for your time. And I'm curious if there's anything that you want to ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. First, a round of applause. Thank you so much for a great presentation with lots of insights. We do indeed have some time for questions, and since Michelle isn't joining the roundtable, I think we have a question. Yep. So, Michelle, the other one, yep.
I didn't hear the question.
It's coming, it's coming.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, Michelle, first off, congratulations on being so creative and agile yourself in bringing this approach through. So I think that that's great. What I wanted to ask is, I have two questions. Can you tell me a little bit more about the leadership team? What levels are they? How many are they? And do you have any way that you're measuring the change?
Okay. Yeah, so the first question, so we have seven members of the leadership team, 6 men, 1 woman. They're responsible for very different, we call it service delivery units. So it is about safety, about utilities, about analytics. With something between 50 to 280 employees in each of these units. And yeah, it is 3. So there's 1 between the board and the leadership team. Because if I tell you about our levels, it would not really help. So I was just thinking how to
No, that's great.
tell you. Yeah. And there, and I hope there are not too many engineers or scientists in the audience now, but there are engineers, scientists, so people who, normally they think, okay, what is Michelle doing all day? And do we really need this? And it's all about numbers and facts, and it has to be very clear. So, of course, it was risky to come up with something like we want to paint. But it really worked, and now they're much more open and they really come up with own ideas. So how do I measure it? I'm a fan of surveys. And it is something that I normally have to fight for in the beginning, because there is a tendency that managers want to ask the employees only if they think it could be, I'm exaggerating a bit, it could be a very positive or at least a not negative answer. But I tried to, and I did this in the beginning of the project, to really ask the employees. So how did you perceive this? What are your concerns? What are your worries? Are you involved? Do you receive the information? Are you enabled? So like this, so that we have a starting point and we know, and then to see when we start the communication measures, when we started workshops, or when we started, sometimes it looks like communication, but it's more activating people. If you ask again, then you can see a change. So then you can see, okay, so it really helped in increasing their ability to follow this process, or that they feel more informed, better involved, that they know what this program is about. They know what is their stake in this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And yeah, on persuading engineers and scientists, you reminded me of a famous Max Planck quote, which is that science progresses one funeral at a time, right? Thank you very much. Another round of applause for you, and we're going to move on. Thank you.
Okay.